Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see you all.
Yeah.
I can't see, but I see you in the spirit. You're all there,
Yeah.
looking beautiful, as I might say.
Yeah, absolutely. You are too.
Oh, thank you.
Well, so we're thinking in this time of all sorts of hatred, hostility, and anger and stuff, would be good to talk about love. What is love? And just right here this morning,
It was so funny. We were like, okay, let's talk about love. And then we immediately had a little argument about what is love. Like,
so I said,
oh, God, save me from this.
so let's go back to the Bible
Okay.
as a
yeah.
basis for discussing it. And we're going to use 1 Corinthians 13, which is used at countless weddings, but really belongs elsewhere because it's talking about life in the fellowship of faith, really.
Well, that was part of our dispute here.
Oh.
Because I'm of the opinion that love is love, and it's not divisible and all that. That, you know, if it's something other than love, then call it something else. But
Okay.
it's not. It's not. I don't buy this. There are 4 kinds of love, and that's
Oh,
that.
fine.
I don't buy that.
Okay. All right. So,
Gary does.
well, that's because I was taught that in seminary. So
I
there.
know. Well, and, you know, I was once taught that too, and I've come to understand it differently.
All right. Well, may I read 1 Corinthians 13, the whole thing?
You have my permission.
Okay. And then we'll take a verse each day, I think. Something
we'll
like
see how it
we'll see
goes.
what happens.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So St. Paul says this: if I speak in the tongues of mortals and of angels, but do not have love, I'm a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give away all my possessions, and if I hand over my body so that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends, but as for prophecies,
let's
what?
stop
You
there,
want
huh?
to stop there?
Well, you could keep playing. It's all
Okay.
good.
Yeah. Love never
It's
ends,
long.
but I know. But as for prophecies, they'll come to an end. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will come to an end. For we know only in part, and we prophesy only in part. But when the complete comes, the partial will come to an end. Now, when I was a child, I spoke like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. But when I became an adult, I put an end to childish ways. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then we will see face to face. Now I know only in part, then I will know fully, even as I have been fully known. And now faith, hope, and love abide, and these 3, and the greatest of these is love.
Okay, I want to make a case here.
Okay, go
that,
for it.
Well, you just closed the book.
Oh,
It in the first part there, it talks about how essential love is to anything, any endeavor we do. So it doesn't really matter what we've accomplished in terms of the activities of our body or things we've created and all of that. If it hasn't been done with love as its basis, if it hasn't come from that, what I would call a unified field of love,
okay.
then it's like worthless. It's like, you know, smoke in the wind. It has no lasting value because it didn't come out of that, the created field of love, that out of which God created all of us.
Which is God.
Which is God,
First
yeah.
John says God is
Is love.
love. That's what all God is.
And that's where we've all come from. And
From
yet-
love.
From love. And that's what we're all made of, finally, is love. It is
Wow.
the essential aspect of
I mean,
life.
so every cell in my body is made of love?
I would say
Every
so.
pore in my body is made of love?
I would say that might be well true.
Wow.
But it's
That's cool to think about.
yeah. There's an interesting book. It's very, well, you know me. I'm kind of woo sometimes, but it's called The Biology of Belief, and it's about how the science behind our cells having a certain level, very low level, but a certain level of consciousness and that kind of thing. If you think of love, that unified field of awareness
Yeah.
is love. It's the thing that sees things clearly. I think it even says that,
That's further down, yeah.
further down, yeah, that it's not like this kind of dim, confusing, what the hell is going on feeling. It is like, I know, I see it, it is clear to me. Life is love. I am love. I am of God, I am love. And that is my home. That's my main place to be. That kind of thing.
Wow.
So,
Wow, that blows me away.
I'm hoping so. It blows me away too. But that's what I think is the setup for this.
Yeah.
It isn't. It's way. And as I said, we are love because that love created us to be love, and all of that. So this is like Paul's beautiful way of trying to, in words which are impossible to use to describe this, but he is beautifully trying to help us to see beyond this stuff that we put up in front, beyond this ego kind of thing,
right,
beyond
yeah.
form, beyond all that, that love is a unified field of creative expression and all that. So I love this when he talks about no matter what I do, if I speak in tongues, and you can tell throughout this whole thing, that ability, that gift of speaking in tongues was a big deal at this time.
There was
in
a
the
big
church.
argument in 1 Corinthians 12
Yeah, it was
about
like,
that.
whoo,
If
this
you
is.
don't do this, you're not any good.
Well, yeah,
You don't get it.
Yeah, it was a real demonstration of you being connected to God and all that, being able
Yeah.
to speak in tongues. And Paul is sort of saying, well, it's fine. All right. And throughout this whole thing, he says, but it's not the main thing. No, any of our worldly activities are not the main thing. It's the love that's behind them or that's within them that is the main thing. Even if
Okay.
I'm a great prophet, doesn't matter. If it doesn't come from love, it's just making a bunch of noise, clanging cymbal. And how often have we heard that when someone is speaking a corrective voice? It's just empty.
If it's not in love.
If it
that
doesn't
is.
come from love, if it doesn't come from that love. That's why some of the prophets of our times and all have been very powerful. I think of Martin Luther King Jr. That came from love, that his message did. Gandhi, that came from love and had tremendous power, prophetic power.
Okay.
That, some people had a similar message, but they never quite got to the love in it.
Okay.
And so it was just, it just clanged. And that's all.
I thought about that. I think about that with the old, the community change agent kind of models. One was the Saul Alinsky model. And I think what caused that to fail was that there was no basis of love in it. It was just fighting for something.
Yeah, the prophetic voice that just merely points out your error isn't necessarily transformative. It has no lasting impression.
Yeah. Well, let's keep talking about this in future days, shall we?
Oh yeah, gosh, we're already at almost 9 minutes.
Yes. You want to pray?
I do. Oh dear God, we seek that clarity to see the world that you have created the way you created it. Give us eyes to see the unified field of love out of which all of us have emerged. In the name of the Christ, amen.
Amen.
Bye.
Have a good one.